Hi, my name is Richard Ray. I'm the Managing Director for Workforce System Design. Often clients will come to us with a new product or new information, a new idea, maybe even new research they've done on something that they want to do. And they ask us this question about how we get that information out. They want to share it with the world. They want the data to become knowledge, wisdom, perhaps even truth. Now, we're not going to discuss in this presentation the philosophical underpinnings of truth, but we are going to talk a little bit about how data becomes wisdom and how you disseminate and diffuse that throughout the world or throughout your community. If you take a look at this slide, you can see that there's a axis of correctness and understanding. As you increase correctness and understanding, you transform data into information to the point where you can understand it, you can begin to talk about it. It's not just points or statistics, it's not points on a graph, it's actually something that you can begin to see patterns. As that information transfers and as those patterns become more clear, we begin to discern knowledge from that. So those patterns become predictable and maybe we see them again and again. And eventually we get to a point where those patterns becomes basic principles and basic wisdom. And so this is called the DIKW hierarchy, also known as data, information, knowledge, and wisdom hierarchy. It's used by quite a few folks to talk about how raw data transforms into wisdom. So we take this as our basic foundation to say, you have now created something new. That could be a new idea, a new research, new data, and you want to engage a broader community. We rely on the works of Everett Rogers, who wrote Diffusion of Innovation, Dave Schwandt, who talked a little bit about organizational learning systems, Edgar Schein, who talked about consultation processes. We also took some fun things from Chester Bernard and Edward Freeman, and even a contemporary band called Casting Crowns, to talk about how these new ideas, research, and data become something more than just something that you've looked at and spent time researching. So once you have a new idea, research data, you want to engage a broader group of people. You could use mass media, you could use social media, you could use press, you could use some type of PR mechanism. But the idea is now that you are not just looking at it within your organization or within your own structure, but you're now trying to engage a broader group of people. Once you move from a mass media perspective, you're now trying to engage stakeholders. These are special types of stakeholders. They already know who you are, they know a little bit about you, so they're engaged with you already. So now you're trying to take that knowledge, new idea, research, or data, and you're trying to present it in such a way that your engaged stakeholders will pick it up, say amen, and they'll begin to share it with other people in their group. Now that engaged group of stakeholders will engage your new knowledge and research and data to a broader stakeholder group. So now you've maybe doubled or even tripled the number of people from your original research or product development group or new idea group, and you're trying to engage people who may not know you or know anything about you. However, they are interested, or at least they seem interested in what it is you're trying to do. So up to this point, these are people who know you or know of you, or either they know someone who does know you. So your idea, your information, your data is slowly moving out. At this point, it may even look like knowledge, or it may even look like a higher degree of information. Now you want to get it out to even a larger population. We call this the Oprah level. Once you're on Oprah, once your book has been approved by Oprah, once Oprah sings your praises, there's almost an understanding that this is this is almost real. This is almost important because Oprah says it is. But seriously, at this point, those broader stakeholders are now engaging their stakeholders. And so if you subscribe to Mike Arena's view of networking, or David Swan's view of social systems, at this point, those social systems take on a life of their own, and they create new knowledge and new wisdom and new information from your original new idea, research, or data. So at this point, Oprah's approved. You're on the book club. She's passed away ponies and cars and all those types of things. And so at this point, the knowledge that you created is now universal knowledge, meaning that more people, they almost believe it, or they might even start to use it to make decisions about how they live or how they engage. And so now we get to the point where, hey, wait a minute. The world knows this. This is truth. 50 years ago, it was pretty easy to determine what truth is, and typically you would find truth from your religious influences, your government influence that you would have through education, through your family, through friends. Truth is a little bit harder to get to these days. But for purposes of our conversation, at this point, whatever your new idea, your research or data was when you originally developed it, it's now part of a broader understanding that this is true. So if you want to be more precise, you want to direct that. This graphic shows that as you create your idea of research and data, instead of just letting it disseminate, like dropping a pebble in a pond and watching the waves ripple, you want to be more deliberate in how you share this information. So you start being intentional and you start being direct. You create patterns of truth or patterns of information that allow you to control how it's disseminated and how that knowledge is diffused. Now, we talked a little bit about these different categories. So published research, it could be that you've identified something and now you're trying to share it. Mass media and public relations, essentially you're using existing venues and media, maybe even social media, and you're starting to share this out. I would say that at this point, you're 30 days out of sharing information when you're using your mass media. Somewhere between 30 days and 365 days, you're beginning to engage your engaged stakeholders. These are people who know you, and they're helping you share that message. Again, now we move into the broader stakeholders. This could be, this could be 180 days to 700 days. So now you're approaching perhaps 2 years that your new idea, data, information is out there and engaging the world. Oprah picks up on you, and of course, now we're talking about maybe 180 days to 900 days since that initial idea or event or invention or service, whatever it is you created and you've disseminated, it's out there, and it's out there to the point of maybe 3 to 4 years. So now we start seeing universal knowledge. Universal knowledge means that the culture is accepting it. Oprah again, has signed off on it. This is, no matter what venue you're in, this knowledge is received. You could be at the Vatican, you could be at your local bar, you could be in a classroom, you could be at a family gathering, and you could mention this topic and people would understand it. They may have differing opinions on it, and they may not know how they know about it, but they know it. It becomes cultural. And then finally, if we begin to think in terms of millennia or maybe even forever, certainly 100 years or so, truth, veritas. This is the basic belief that whatever it was you created is now within the scientific realm and the emotional realm and the ethos and pathos and logos of society, meaning that we think about it, we have some ethics or values around it, and we can elicit some type of emotion when we think about this truth. And so then the information's out there, truth is formed, and now we get to a point where we tie some other things around it. We tie the scholar practitioner into the conversation. So now that this universal knowledge is out there, now that there's truth out there, the scholar begins to research on it and begins to explore it using scientific methods. The practitioner takes a more pragmatic approach to applying this knowledge, this truth, this information that you created so long ago, and we apply it in a way that allows you to help other people and continue to do research so that that truth or that universal knowledge that you created becomes the foundation for new ideas and new research and a new generation of data collection. So if you enjoyed this, this is just a way to think about how you might engage the world with your new idea, your research or data. We talk with PhD students quite a bit about this. Often when they're in the middle of their research, they think they're going to save the world or solve the world with their research and their dissertation. But the truth is, it's just one piece of new information or new research that has to be disseminated. When we look at companies who are trying to survive an economic crisis or trying to come up with a new way of working, for instance, a printing company that was in the business of printing books, that people no longer have the need for a book printer, well, that person now has to come up with a new idea, a new way, a new reputation, a new way of being known. And maybe that's printing beer labels, or maybe it's printing ID tags for conferences. But essentially, you're continuing to move and build on new ideas. Again, my name is Richard Ray. If you have questions about this model, or if you have ways that you can improve it and help us disseminate your new idea, your new research, your new data, please share it with us.